Just for the sound to sing.
Just for bloopers.
Yeah. Welcome to It's Pretty Simple, and today I have a very special guest on the show. The woman who introduced me to fitness. This is Georgia Canavan.
Second name. We're getting serious now.
Very serious. We've been friends for how long now? 20 years?
20 years.
And she introduced me to fitness when I was 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a late starter, but yeah.
Yeah, Nikki was going into a pretty unhealthy sort of lifestyle, wasn't it, really? So
yeah, honestly, I wanted to do an episode talking about my journey, and then she came to visit, and I thought, what better episode to make than her just, talk about my start.
100%. I have a question for you, though, before we begin any of this. Did you think, when you were 23 years old, that you would be doing what you do now?
Not at all. Far from it. For me, fitness was so uninteresting. And
Since forever.
Like, I tried every after-school activity. I tried every sport. I sucked at all of them. The only thing I enjoyed was taekwondo.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really young. And then I couldn't continue classes because we changed schools. And then just nothing. And then back then, the mindset was, like, you go to the gym if you're fat.
Mm-hmm.
That was the reality of how it was when we grew up.
But you weren't. You've always been pretty lean.
So I've always been skinny, but little did I realize that I was skinny fat. And that also, it wasn't just about that. It's not about just losing weight. The gym is so much more, and you have to, for me, became very mental more than anything else, and just in general for the long term, just health.
Yeah. But I mean, let's go back. So when I first moved back, and we were sort of reunited, I was already a personal trainer, and I was working half design job, half PT, and then went into full-time personal training. And there's my best friend. I'm going to see her, and we had such different lifestyles at the time. You were partying hard, living the life, living at large, and having a fun time. Don't get me wrong.
I had a lot of fun. I don't regret any of it.
And I was like into this fitness world, still having fun as well, but not quite to your extent. Still not quite to the extent. But
yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, you were, and I think you still have that in you as well. But and I think me walking into your room that time and like just getting you out of bed and bringing you to the gym and being like, I think there was a fear for me that you were going to continue down that pathway, and
I probably would have for a bit.
I think you would have come out the other end, but I think you were I wanted to look after you and like show you a different way of channeling
real friend
channeling that energy into something positive and something that's going to be good. I mean, I didn't intend for you to work in fitness. That wasn't my intention. It was just like I really enjoy working out. It brings me so much joy. It brings me so many other good things, and then I wanted that for you as well. Yeah,
I mean, my whole life changed because of it, to be honest. Like, even the work field that I was in and everything, like, you making me make that first step, I think changed a lot of things, like where I thought I was and where I was going to end up 10 years down the line is completely different, just because you forced me to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And that was it. Literally, you've dragged me out of bed and said, we're going. And I hated it for 2 weeks. I was just like, what the hell is this? It's
and
horrible.
now she's addicted.
And then I was like, oh my God, something's changed. I'm feeling better. I don't want to admit it though, but something's different.
Yeah. But I think also, like, we then made our own company called Protein Sheikhas, which I'm still pretty proud of that name.
Yeah, some people still remember it.
I know. They were like, oh, you two were Protein Sheikhas. I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
But, and then we managed to accomplish, like, so much. Just two little gals, like, we started a boot camp. People started coming to that for charging no money. And then it's, like, developed us into doing our own thing and achieving, like, so many different things now.
Yeah.
So.
And I think one thing I really love about you is, like, you encouraged me to do my certification, to finish it and everything. And also when I was kind of wondering what to do, in the field, like, you helped me get my first freelance jobs and all of that. And, like, I'm really thankful for that, because I don't think there's a lot of friends out there that would do that. People always seem to be competing with each other, and for us, we're always pushing each other forward, and I really love you for that.
I'm gonna get emotional. Oh no. Okay, well, like, how I see those things, first of all, thank you, I hear you. But like also like I think there's enough space, especially in that world over there, for everyone. And I think everybody brings value to the table in a different way. So for me, I never saw any other female, male, whatever sex like as a competition, because I felt like there is space, and like, you know, just because your clients are attracted to you and your personality and your style of training, that's someone different from me, and there's enough. So I feel like that competition is like coming from a place of like, you know, self-worth or something they're not quite confident with within themselves. But I mean, it was really, really fun on the other side to see you like on your first day going into training to do spin.
Oh my god.
Which is hard. I think working at that spinning gym was probably one of the hardest jobs I think I've ever done.
Definitely.
So intense.
Yeah, doing the spin job actually gave me so much confidence that I never thought I could ever have. It gave me a lot of anxiety, and then eventually it switched into being more confident, and I think that helped me with every other job I got after that, and it just made me a more confident person, and therefore a more confident coach as well, because I think for a long time I had imposter syndrome, because I'm like, you're an F&B, like what are you doing in the gym, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty interesting.
So backtrack, Nick had been working in her family business as in food and beverage, and then transitioned into this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, I think also for me, having like my friends, especially you at work, somebody I trust and love and like have fun with, just made like everything 10 times better. Yeah. So like I think that's always like I'm a believer that we should all help each other, especially us girlies. Like I think there's power in that.
Of course, definitely. And it's really interesting because, you know, down the line we both went on very different paths from where we started. We're still in the fitness industry, we still do fitness, but it's like you went more into, I went more into online training, working with fat loss, and you've gone more into the Pilates era a little bit.
Yeah, I think I needed to define myself.
Yeah.
And I think Pilates was something that I hadn't done like since I was younger. I'd always done different types of sports and like athletics, but never Pilates, because that wasn't around really. Like as we were growing up, it wasn't really, you know, I couldn't find places to go to, whatnot. But I think I found it through injury, and saw a great value in that, especially in the Middle East, like where we were teaching, there just wasn't that knowledge and level of training. So for me, coming back to London, doing my certifications there, and then going back was like a major, massive game changer. But I think also now I've moved more into film and TV wellness space. I'm going to call it wellness, even though I hate that word. I wasn't expecting to do that. I didn't know where I was going with training, but I just knew I loved it.
Yeah.
And it was a passion, and it was making good money and like doing something positive in the world. And I think, that's really been fun. But it's amazing what you've achieved, because COVID hit, we both went online. I actually made more money online during COVID, than running around doing PTs.
Yeah, I mean, for me it was really good, and that's how I managed to say, okay, it's time for me to leave the what do you call it? Leave the nest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I moved to Spain, and I really enjoy the way that I work and the women I work with, and yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. It took me a while to get used to. Sometimes I do miss being inside the gym, but other times I'm like, no, this is good.
The freedom.
The freedom is really good, yeah.
I think you should definitely do a podcast later on about
freedom, but
also the type of, I think a lot of people like your lifestyle and like the way you work and your the freedom you have, so it'd be cool to see how you've achieved that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I want to understand a little bit about really what it is that you do. I know we talk a lot about it, but I get a little bit confused sometimes, right? Because you're not working the same gym anymore.
Yeah.
So you work in the film industry.
Yeah.
And you also work with regular clients, right?
Yes.
And you work with, in the film industry, the focus is transforming the clients for the particular role that they're going to take,
yeah,
right?
So that's part of the business that we run. It's a company called Before the Lights, and it's a couple of guys and me. And basically we are hired by production companies to get actors ready for their role, whether that's theatre, film, TV, and how do we do that in the safest, most ethical way. So it's a transformation. It's not just about getting people really skinny or getting people super hench for like different roles. It could be anything. So I've had people who've had to look like a certain person, or be a swimmer, or be a heroin addict, or be a a fighter or anything. So it's the transformation's really different, and clients come to us off different gigs, like different roles. So they might come to us super high fat percentage because they've had to play this character, and then now they've got to go in and play a drug addict, and how do we do that? You know what I mean? Using all of our tools and all of the team that we have, which is a really, really good team. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is I have my online clients, and they're pretty much all over the world at the moment, and the programming clients. And then I have this wellness side. She's busy. She's tired. I have the wellness side. So in 3 months' time, we're opening a wellness club in London, and this is going to be gym, wellness focused, workspace, screening space, cafe, and obviously a really good spa and gym facility as well. So that's me, girl.
I want to go a little bit deeper into these transformations, especially when you're taking somebody who's done a role with a high body fat percentage, and then you have to transform them into a role for a drug addict, for example. Mm-hmm. What is usually the timeline that you look at for that? Because obviously it's different from, you getting a regular client, and they want to lose weight. We tell them your requirement's like 3 months, but you're not going to drastically change. But in your case with these people, these actors, you actually have to get them results in probably a shorter amount of time, right?
So it can be anywhere from 3 to 6 months. That's usually the time frame we have. Obviously, if I've got someone for 3 months and they have to lose huge amounts of body fat, we manage expectations of producers, directors. It's also about, like, for instance, I had one female actress the film has just come out, and she had to lose a lot of weight, body fat. And she came to me a very healthy, normal girl, but for the role, she had to be super skinny and petite. And that's because she's playing a specific character, which I think I'm seeing a change now in the production staff, like in the directors, being aware that these people have lives after this. And like, it's, I can't have a client lose so much body fat that then affects their hormones, which affects their period, and then eating habits is a big one. So we work with a whole team, and it's like kind of like the wellness club. So I've gone off the topic. How do I do it?
Yeah.
No, your time frame.
Time frame. Yeah.
So like usually 3 to 6 months we have with them.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, this is obviously in a more intense way, but this podcast is about people understanding that fat loss is actually pretty simple, and that it's become, people have overcomplicated it because one, there's too many resources.
It's overwhelming.
Too much information, too many trainers, too many wannabe trainers.
Yeah.
There's a lot out there, and so people are just confused. So in what you do with these people, would you say you follow the same basics of what it is when we're trying to lose fat for a normal person who's got a normal life and not trying to have a drastic change? But do we have these primary principles that you also follow, obviously fast-tracked a little bit?
Yeah, I would say, the biggest thing that I think we do well as a team, especially George, who does who helps with the nutrition, he just simplifies everything. And that's the biggest thing, is like, how do we simplify this to make it realistic, doable, all that stuff. So the answer is yes, but I would never put a regular client on.
Oh no, definitely.
It's more intensified, because also this is going to be on film forever. So they want to really focus, and they're uber focused, these actors. So anything we say, it's like gospel, and they do it. But the answer to that is yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So somebody goes to movies and they just see this person go, oh my God, I love her body. And then just like you would on social media, you're going through the influencers. And it's I think it's really sad because they don't know. It's
unrealistic.
What people have gone through to achieve that for that specific role.
Right? 100%. I think even I take that back onto myself, and I think when I had my lowest body fat percentage and I was overworking, overtraining, not eating enough, vegan, the best physique that people would tell me, I was getting all this information from other people being like, you look fantastic, and I was like at my most unhappiest. And I think I would never be able to achieve that body, that physique is unachievable for me now, because it was not realistic. I'm in a different place now. We discussed this earlier today.
Yeah, I feel the same.
we were in a place where there's not much going on, and the gym was like a real focus of our day. And now I've moved to London, and there's so much more happening in my life, and I'm happier for it.
Yeah.
But to achieve that physique again, there's no way. It's not attainable.
I feel there was twice in my life where I got told that I look great. Once I was really, really skinny before starting the gym, and I was on a diet of coffee and cigarettes, and that's it, you know. And I was going through a depressive state at the time, and people would just be like, oh my god, you look so great, like, oh, you finally have abs, and it's like, oh god, this is like really not,
it's toxic.
So yeah, it's very toxic. And then the second time where I feel like I achieved something with muscle and everything, I was burnt out constantly. I was teaching 2 spin classes a day. I was on my feet. I was working at the restaurant. I was abusing my body so much.
We were also younger.
We thought we had the energy, which we probably did, but we didn't realize that, you know, it's not something that you can sustain in the long term.
Definitely not. And I have a way healthier like relationship with movement. I mean, I never had a bad relationship with food, but I don't restrict myself really. I'm not on a diet ever. So I think taking it back to the actors, the biggest thing for me, especially with the girlies, because I'm always on the girls team, is like how we've adapted their nutrition in quite a strict way because we have to, because we've got 3 to 6 months to get this happening. And obviously we change and alter that as we go along if it doesn't work or if it's gone too far, too quickly, so we don't affect the hormones. So I think it was then making sure she had the support and communication to make sure that she, later on, after leaving set and finishing the film, that she wasn't taking those habits. Because she was giving the same feedback. Oh, people are telling me I look amazing. And I'm hungry. There's also a fear of hunger that the bodies have, which I've noticed with the actors, is like, because again, it's that
you have to cut down. We have to cut crazy
for this to work. That they have a fear of hunger, and that's a horrible feeling. So if you get used to that, it's like, how do we make sure that they don't take that on forever and have an eating disorder or have a problem? So I feel like it's a world. People have made it very difficult to navigate this whole losing fat. But if you really cut the shit and just simplify, make sure you get the basics first of all, the sleep, the work, like really simple stuff. You know, taking that hydration salt if you're not sleeping 8 hours or eating the right macros is not really going to do jack shit.
No, it's not.
So, especially if you're trying to lose weight, body fat, whatever it is. So, so what about your clients? Because you deal with online clients, which I think there's a real skill to training people online, especially clients that need a lot of support, which I know you give them. So you're supporting people for mostly weight loss or muscle gain or what?
It's really interesting because I do get women come to me for fat loss. A lot of them have hit a plateau at some point. A lot of them have just never moved in their lives. And so both of those, it's really interesting because it's very different how you deal with them.
Definitely.
So if somebody's been training for, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 years, and they've started to hit a plateau, the basic is pretty much the same as somebody who comes in as a beginner, but this is where the nutrition part comes in for the whole thing. So what I do is I work with clients mostly for fat loss, but we work very, very
like focus.
We focus a lot on the nutrition more than anything else, and one thing I want to do is try to make people understand that it's not about how much you're training, but if you really want to achieve any goal, whether you're trying to lose fat or you're trying to gain weight or anything, it's always going to be nutrition focused. And so most of my coaching is around that. So I work with clients all over the world. They come in for fat loss, and we go through nutrition. I build specific training plans for each person given their level, goals, whatever it is. So nothing cookie cutter with what I do at all.
No, bespoke.
It's not. I mean, because I've gotten a few online clients, online coaches myself as well. Because I go through phases where I'm just like not bothered to do things for myself. It's normal.
It's important to have a coach. Yeah.
I lose the discipline. I lose the motivation once in a while, and so I do that. So I've really seen how. I will say that I think I'm one of the best online coaches out there from what I've seen so far, and it's just because
confidence is key, gals.
It's no bullshit. My goal is to teach my client everything.
I do think the nutrition one is actually important because I see just like people around me, they're trying to be healthier like in themselves, but they're just the lack of understanding of food. And these are educated people.
Yeah.
That's surprising to me.
It really is, and like...
It's annoying. We should be learning this at school. If your parents don't teach you, my mom taught me a lot about food. And since I was young, food was like quite, we sought it from like specific places, like the knowledge was given to me. And then after my mom getting sick, with in remission, she's good. She's alive. Everything's good. Before everyone's always like, oh my God. But that's how my journey started with nutrition and started reading about nutrition, was through her illness, because she fought a lot of that through the types of food.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to do that self-teaching, you need someone like yourself to come in and give them. But I like the way you do it. You simplify.
I try to make everything as simple as possible, and I love being asked questions because, somebody actually once told me, Nick, why do you give them all the information and teach them everything? And I said, because I'm a coach.
That's what you do.
My job is for them to learn, and I want them to be self-sufficient. But she's like, but then that way you make less money, because then they don't keep coming back. And I'm like, if they kept coming back to me with the same things, I've not done my job right, and I've not been a good coach. So I take them on for 3 months. Some people stay on longer because they need it. Some people just don't want to do the thinking for themselves after, and so they stay on. But I'm confident that 95% of my clients will leave after 3 months completely satisfied with what they've learned from me. Because again, I try to make everything so simple, and it's different for each person, right? Like your lifestyle is different from mine. I spend my time at home.
Yeah.
I go for walks. I'm not on my feet. I don't have a job that I need to move around too much. And your life is different. So I can't train you the way I would train myself. And I can't give you nutrition the way I would give myself nutrition.
Yeah.
Right? So I also try to build habits according to their lives.
Yeah.
And we slowly implement these things. But, essentially, we're always following the same pillars when it comes to fat loss.
Which are?
Sleep, recovery, extremely important. Hydration, you want to lose fat, you got to be in a calorie deficit. You got to eat plenty of protein. And the gym is important, obviously. You need to be strength training, but you have to move in general in your life.
I'm also going to add one more into there, which is your parasympathetic nervous system. If your cortisol levels are high, you are not going to lose body fat. So I was always like, what is that in the beginning? And it's like literally bringing your heart rate and everything down, relaxing, breath work, saunas, walking but at a slow pace, like whatever that is to you, journaling.
This is something that I'm trying to make people understand. I really started taking that side in the beginning when I started online, and I went in for fitness, nutrition, and mindset.
Yeah.
And people would be like, I don't want the mindset part. And I just couldn't make them understand the importance of it, because again, you're sleeping, you're eating, you're doing everything, but you're stressed the hell off every single day of your life. There's no way you're going to achieve it. You're going to store fat, your cortisol level is going to be off the charts, you're going to binge, you're going to crave sugar. These are all natural things that happen. But unfortunately, like until now, I still find it very hard to tap into that part when I have clients telling me, oh, I've got this stressful thing happening. So I try to then change their training in a way to make sure that I'm not elevating their cortisol levels through their training.
Yeah.
Because if they don't want to sit down and do some breath work for 3 minutes or journal their thoughts, and they just think like, okay, this is all like wishy stuff, I just change the style of training for that period where I know that they're stressed out.
Yeah.
And that's how I take it. I do have some clients though who really do listen to me, and they go through their thoughts, and sometimes I become a therapist as well. But I like 100%. It when that happens, because then I actually...
Well, you have that connection, right?
It's a connection, and then they also understand the whole mindfulness part, because that's super important as well.
Yeah, I think mindfulness, the wellness industry has taken mindfulness and put it into very specific categories. But for me, it can be anything: drawing, whatever brings you joy, and I'm going to say peace a little bit. I'm quite strong on the wellness side, meditation side. And most of my clients meditate, and I do meditation for them at the end, depending on what they're bringing. But all right then, top 5. What do you do? Top 5 things to do, bring your cortisol levels down.
Meditation.
How do you meditate?
Well, I sit in silence for 3 minutes with a timer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have some days where I chant, and that just helps me. I have my beads.
Yep.
So I do that when I walk most of the time, just chant. That way I'm not thinking of anything, just the mantra, you know? And then I journal every day. Like, that's super important for me to just get out my thoughts. And sometimes I'll just repeat the same things again, but I really feel like when I feel all stressed and everything's hectic, when I put my thoughts down, I just realize that it's not that hard. Like, I can figure these things out, you know, putting pen to paper.
Process.
So walks, meditation, and journaling are my
That's
3.
your top 3.
I have 3, not 5.
I mean, I don't have 5, but maybe I do. Well, what do I do? I'm a big sauna girly.
I do sauna.
I really like saunas. Like, for me, it's a game changer. I can see with my Whoop, like my HRV, when I sauna or meditate, and I do guided meditation, I use the app Open at the moment, and I love it. I need guided. Your girl's got ADHD, she cannot sit in silence.
I used to do guided, and I wanted to get myself out of it. So guided, fair. I could do 10 minutes or more. Yeah. And then I was like, I want to get out. So now I'm still stuck on 3 minutes, but I think 3 minutes is good enough time to just sit there in silence. So yeah.
And walking for me, like, it's I live in London. It's really busy. It's really hectic. So I've finished a stressful day. I've trained. Getting on the tube, or like getting on a bus and going home is like, no. So I've tried to start like walking home, and just getting out in nature for me is a big one as well. But since I've been more aware of what that does to my body, I have seen like changes in inflammation, belly fat in myself. So I think that's one thing, if you can take away from this chat, if there's one thing, is like really focus on actually calming your body, bringing a bit of peace to yourself, whatever that means to you, to help your cortisol levels and your parasympathetic. Okay, so just to wrap this up, we're gonna go into 4 really quick questions. I need to answer as quickly as you can, so kind of like rapid fire. Okay, right? Let's go. All right, so what's your favorite workout brand? Oh my god. In terms of gear, like clothing. Lululemon. I was an ambassador for quite some time. It's basic, but the leggings I love. Otherwise, it's a Canadian brand called 437, I think. Okay, so question number 3. What do you feel is your biggest achievement in your career so far? Oh my god, there's so many. No, I'm joking. I really enjoyed being a Lululemon ambassador. I thought that was really fun, even though it came during COVID. I'm not being very quick. I would say joining the team with the film industry. For me, it's been a massive highlight. And it was so random. I just fell into it. I feel like I've fallen into a lot of things in my life, and this was one of them. It just happened so naturally, and it's really fun, exciting, and I feel like I'm able to grow there. Okay, last question. Where do you see yourself going with your career in the next 3 years? I see myself in the next 3 years. 3 years. So we're opening this health club in London. It's called Lighthouse. Come check us out. It is a private members club. Can I get free access? You have Wasta. Okay. It's okay. So I am going to be opening the wellness side. So I want to grow that wellness side of the business, whether it's retreats and also opening my own facility in collaboration with these guys, taking wellness into one house and making it available for everyone. Nice. Awesome. Thank you, Georgia, for coming on to the podcast. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for tuning in today, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please make sure to give me a follow and a subscribe. Until next week.